Hello guys, so I'm going to show you on how to do the sorting of string or list items without the inbuilt function like the sorted or the sorting function. So basically, let me show some simple demonstration on how we are going to do this before we go to coding. For example, we have a string by Jane. Then what you are going to do, you are going to create a list because a list is something quite good on doing sorting. When you are doing sorting, we consider converting if it starts string, convert it into a list. So basically, this is the string you are going to get when you convert the string into a list. So on our looping, we have an outside loop which shall represent the size of this string minus 1. For example, from j to n. You get? Because when we are going to loop through the string, we are going to get the first. For example, now we are going to get j. So j is going to be compared with a. If j is greater than a, so j becomes in the position of a and a becomes in position of j. Let's do that like that. Then if j is greater than n, what are we going to do? We are going to do the same and j like that. If it's not, so we are going to remain with n and j in the year position. So now we are not comparing, so we get this index 1, we compare with the index 0, we compare with the index 1. So if index 0 is greater than index 1, so index 0 becomes 1 and index 1 becomes 0. So we go to the next index, which is 1. So if index 1 is greater than index 2, we compare, so we switch index 2 to index 1 and index 1 to index 2. If index 1 is not greater than index 2, they remain as that. So we go to index 3. If index 3, or now here it's index 2, sorry, index 2, because this is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So if index 2 is greater than index 3, we switch both of them, so e becomes on n and n becomes ras. So after this loop, the number of the string or the character which is the greater than them all will be the last one. So when we are to visit the strings again, we are not going to consider this last index because the last character on this list of string will be the largest. So we are not going to loop on this index anymore. So we are going to use this 3 index. So we are going to compare from A to E. So if A, so now we start again. A is greater than J. Is it? No. So they remain in the position. J is greater than E. Yeah, that's true. So they switch. E comes there and J comes there. And it ends there because now we are not considering this last index because N was considered the largest. So after this, now J is in its position because it's the largest number on the compared to the previous indexes. You get? So that's it's there. So when we go to the next loop, we are not going to consider the last two indexes, J and N. So we are going to consider these two indexes. So we are going to compare now the first and the second index. So we are comparing now A and E. A is greater than E? No. And that's our last because there is no other number to compare. So we are not switching them and that they remain in that position. So after sorting, it's the index we get. So let's do that using Python in our text editor. It's just simple. So let's do that. So we are going to define a string. Let's define a string. Let's define a string which is we call it Jane. I'm going to name it Jane. So then we are going to convert the string into a list. So let's get the string list. So we are going to use the method string or the function called the method list. Sorry, list to convert the string into a list. So now we have the string and the string list. So the next thing you are going to get is the list size. List size, which is the same as the string size. So we are going to get the length of the string like that. Okay. Then the next thing we are going to do is now do the sorting. Now we are doing the sorting. So for I in range, so we are doing the from range. We are supposed to reduce the size from range. This size, width size minus 1. So why we are doing the read size minus 1 is because when you are looping through the list, we are considering from this index to this, because we are reading this index, then we are comparing it with this index plus 1. So it's j, then we compare j with the next index, a we compare it with the next index, n with the next index. So when we read this index, there's no next number to compare, so it's going to exit the loop and give the index out of range. So we are supposed to read up to here because we are going to get this index from the inner loop, and then we compare with the next index, which is plus 1. So we are not supposed to read in the inner loop from no from we are not supposed to read the outer loop from this index to this. We are supposed to read from first index to last index minus 1. So that's what we are going to do. This size minus 1. So for inner loop, j in range read size minus I minus 1. Why we are doing so is when we get to loop the first, we get to loop the list. This is how it's going to be. We are comparing j to a. So if j is greater than a, we interchange a with j. We interchange a with j. So if j is greater than n, we interchange, but this not. So it just remains that. So n minus n compared to e is smaller, so you interchange. So when we are after that first loop, we don't need this index. We don't need this index because the largest number of the first loop of this list, the last number will be the greatest of them all. You get? So that's how it's going to be. So we are comparing now from A to E. That's how it's going to work. So let's do the next one. So we start over from A up to E because the last one will obviously be the largest. So after this, now the second loop from A to E, then the data that will come here on E will be the second largest. So when you are going to do the next loop, we don't need this index and this index because they are in the right position. So we are going to get A and J. So definitely that's how we are doing. So to this inner loop, do that. So we are going to compare now if string list. So we get the index J. So now for example, if index J, that will read from 0 to index to that index. So for example here we are taking JA, this A, we are comparing it with the next letter. So index of J is this, so we are comparing it J plus 1, sorry, J plus 1. So it's A with the next value, which is J plus 1. So if string list J is greater than string list J plus 1. If it's greater, so what you are going to do is get the string list J. So we are going to switch also up string list J plus 1. So we are going to switch. If string J is greater than this, so this string here, it's going to be in the index of J. Now the index of J with this one, it's going to be in. Now the largest one, it's going to be on the index of the smallest is going to be the index that the largest had taken. So that's how it's done. That's how you do the sorting. So let's get the string. Let's now get the string from the list. So for I, it's going to this one is going to sort the list. So we need now the string, the sorted string. So for I in string list, because it is now a sorted string. Why? So we are going to let's define a variable sorted string. Let's say that string sorted string. You add I like that. So we are going to print the so let's print the string and print the sorted string like that. So let's print and see whether the work of that was done correctly. Yeah, as you can see, all the string was done. So our sorting string was done successfully, and definitely that's how you do sorting in Python without using the inbuilt functions like the sorted or the sorting. If you have any question on the sorting, you can maybe ask on the comment section for further explanation on how you can go about it. Or maybe if you got difficulties on doing it, you can maybe ask on the comment section. Thank you.